Hard work is extremely important if you are striving for whatever goal you're striving for. It's one of the essential ingredients for success. And we've all heard it before. We've heard it from the motivational gurus over the years, from our teachers, our parents. We have to work hard. And it's absolutely true. We absolutely do need to work hard. But working hard on its own is not enough. You have to work hard the right way. I mean, you can work hard but focusing on the wrong things. So you have to come up with a plan, have a structure on how you're going to approach this work that you have to undertake. I mean, think about back in school. There's a specific curriculum we have to follow. You know, there are certain chapters that we have to hit in order to be able to learn this subject that we're learning and be able to pass the test. You know, there's a structure. I mean, you can work hard on for example, if you have like 10 chapters that you have to hit in a semester, for example, and you just work very hard on one chapter, by the end of that semester, you're not going to pass the test because, yes, you were working hard, but your direction was a bit skewed, you know. So, yes, you want to work hard, but you have to focus on the right things and put your energy into those hard things. So, yes, you have to absolutely work hard. But yeah, again, you need structure and you need a good system. But it's undeniable that hard work do pay off. I mean, we've heard the saying, work smarter, not harder. And to me, that saying doesn't necessarily mean don't work hard. Just find smart ways to work or take a shortcut. You know, to me, it doesn't really mean that. It just means working hard the right way. You want to work smart in terms of not putting too much energy into something and not getting I think the better way to phrase it will be to say, let's say there's a task that requires 20% of your energy to achieve, right? But you can actually find yourself going about it the wrong way where you're spending like 80% of your energy to achieve it, you know? Whilst you could have just spent like 20% and still hit it, but spending your 20% in the right way, you know? So, yes, you want to think intelligently about your approach and try to your best to minimize the amount of energy you have to put into it, right? But it's still hard work, even though you're minimizing your energy. And with art, it's the same thing. You want to approach it in terms of, instead of just drawing a full scene with characters who have costumes, you have to get the figures correct, you have to get the perspective correct. That can take a very long time to accomplish. So you might find yourself maybe spending like a week on this one thing. And after that, because there's so many things that you might not be good at, so many topics in that one illustration, you might find yourself really, really struggling to get it done. And by the time you're done, the things are not right. You know, your perspective is a bit off. Your anatomy is a bit off because you don't really have those skills yet. But if you were to take that same illustration, in terms of just drawing a full illustration, break it down into simple tasks, like your characters. Instead of drawing full characters, costumes, everything, just draw them as mannequins. Just draw them as mannequins, and then that way you're now practicing your figure illustrations, and it takes less time. And for your background, instead of drawing buildings and full landscape, trees and whatever, just draw it as a grid. Just draw it as a simple grid which you can knock out very quickly. Now, if it's a simple grid, you can spend your time drawing that grid correctly, getting the perspective right? So now you have minimized your time, where your characters are mannequins and your backgrounds, there's no detail in your background, it's just a grid. Now, after you've done that, now you've dropped the energy you were gonna put into this illustration from 80% to 20%. Like, you only spend 20% of your time doing that. And that gives you more time to repeat this process. So you can do multiple of these scenes where you're just drawing a grid and a bunch of figures, mannequin figures in that grid, over and over and over again. So in a week, you might find yourself that you've done maybe 10 of these or 20 of these. Whilst if you were doing a full illustration with everything, it would have taken like one. And you would have learned 10 times more now, because you've done these simplified illustrations multiple times. The more you do it, the more you learn. Whereas if it was just one illustration, you're only getting one lesson, right? Whilst you do multiple of it, you're getting multiple lessons. And by the end of that week, you've actually improved quite a bit, right? So it's still hard work, because you're doing this small thing over and over and over again. It's smaller. You've minimized the complexity of it. So in a sense, it is smaller. So it's a smaller task to accomplish. But the hard work comes in where you have to do this small thing over and over and over again. And it's easier to do. It's much more easier to do it this way. So yes, you're still working hard, but you're working very smart. And this is such a great idea, such a great approach of improving your skills faster. Simplify it. Don't look at the big illustration and decide, okay, I'm gonna draw that big illustration. Right? Break it down into simpler tasks and then repeat them over and over and over again. And you will be amazed by the end of that week how much you have learned, and there will be some improvements, So I think this idea of simplifying your illustrations is such a great idea. I mean, I remember when I first saw Kim Jong-gi draw, I was like, man, this guy is just knocking out. He's drawing like a printer, it seems like to me, right? But I've come to see there's actually quite a few videos that I've seen here on YouTube of Kim Jong-gi showing his process of studying. He spends a lot of time simplifying figures, drawing them in different perspective. So when you look at him do a full illustration, that is just years and years and years of him practicing these simplified illustrations in the background that you don't see. You just see the final results. So I'm glad that we're actually seeing how he practiced, so that it demystifies to a lot of us his approach of how he was such a master. So yeah, rest in peace, Kim Jong-gi. And yeah, I think it's a very great approach. It's a very, very great approach. This idea of simplifying your illustrations, and it has done some wonders for me. I've seen quite a noticeable improvement in my art when I started taking this approach. Of course, it's slow, but yeah, I'm seeing some improvements, and I am really, really enjoying it. And that's the other thing. You have to set it up in such a way where it is enjoyable, so that you can continue. Because if you, like, for example, for me, if I was to like draw hands only hands for like a whole week, that will, yeah, that will really, really demotivate me. It sounds like a boring exercise for like a whole week. Like I can do a session of hands. I try my best to, these days actually, I've been trying to draw hands like daily before I start everything else, because hands are my biggest weakness. But I need to make it so that it's a fun exercise. For me, instead of just drawing hands, I will maybe just draw a figure and add hands to it. Draw a simple figure, add hands to it. Just make it fun for me. So it's the same thing with this approach of you're going to work hard at something and you want to be smart about it as well. So when you take that scene, that example of a scene that I described earlier, and you break it down into a simplified version of it, that's, to me, sounds like a fun thing, because it's still multiple things that I'm drawing, which is really what I want. What really gets me going, drawing multiple things, but they're simplified. I can hit them. I'm still doing a bit of storytelling in there. I'm doing some figure illustrations, some gesture drawings. You can hit all of these interesting topics in a simplified manner, and of course a bit of perspective in there as well. And I think that's a fun way of going about it. And then the more you do this, the more confident you will get, and then the faster you will get as well. And when you start seeing your speed improve a bit, then you can just add more to it. When you start getting getting comfortable at drawing certain things, then you add a little bit of complexity here and there slowly. But don't start by overwhelming yourself with like a huge complex piece that you have to create. Add complexity gradually. And that's really all I wanted to talk about today. So yeah, thank you for checking out this video, and I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Make it last forever. Stop in time.